World. It's always great to see so many of you coming out and supporting these tournaments. Unfortunately, Tasia has fallen, which I know a lot of you guys were here to watch, but if you take my word for it, the last ZVZ between these guys was very close and very great to watch. So spawning down in the bottom left-hand side of the map, it is SortOf. And his opponent, the current Afreeca World Champion, I can't believe it. He's on his road to becoming a 5-timer. It is Solar. Every Afreeca World that it looks like Solar's about to win, I always think, all right, who are we going to get that's going to beat him next time? And it's always a tough question because I thought this time, sure, Hero. It'll be close. No, Solar, he lost the first game, yeah, but then he came back and just bopped him in those other games. So it's like, who are we going to have? So we'll get to thinking of that right away. Alrighty, as far as the builds go, SortOf, pool first. 16, so a safer build, whereas Solar going for the hatch first, which is kind of the better end of this because he'll have the slightly better economy. Because by the time SortOf's lings get across the map, they won't really be too much of a factor. Or actually, I mean, maybe. No, they shouldn't be too much of a factor by the time they get across the map. But yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning on in here. I'm gonna link my Twitter and stuff. Make sure to follow that and whatnot. I'm always putting out information on the new tournaments and stuff, and also sometimes, you know, just tweeting out random junk that I'm sure you guys would love to read, or maybe not. Who knows? But here come the lings for SortOf. They're going to be getting on in. And all the VODs are posted on my YouTube channel as well, if that's your preferred way to watch. I mean, you guys are watching now, so I don't know why I'm telling you, but if you're just tuning in or something like that. Now we've got Solar, just wait until he has enough lings to force us back. Now SortOfs are kind of trapped here. And keep in mind, SortOf did this without speed. So he may just be committing here. Solar, look at that. Such a good save. It's not often that we see a spore made to save a drone from lings. The queens here will help work on these. Now drone's being pulled. Excellent micro from Solar so far. So he's looking very good. And I'm just thinking, oh no, is he gonna... I love Solar, guys, but someone's gotta beat him, right? Like, it becomes a personal challenge for me that someone... Because, I mean, I organize these tournaments. It's like, all right, we can't have Solar win everyone or people will stop watching. So, we'll just have to wait and see. Though Solar, on a serious note, is playing very well, getting up his third base. He has his speed. SortOf back at home, going for the roaches, opting to skip speed. Needs to get that wall up. And then when he does, he will be safe. Solar, though, interestingly enough, going for a Baneling nest. I doubt he's going to try and Baneling bust his opponent. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think it's too likely. He's just droning up, getting his own Roach Warren. If you excuse me, I'm just going to update the... Liquipedia here, whatever I know. Oh, someone already did it for me. Big shout out to everyone who does the just like updates what games are on the TL sidebar, and updates what games, and updates the Liquipedia bracket and stuff. It's very much appreciated. Roaches are on the way. For both players. Roach speed on the way for SortOf, so that's his change. He opted to go for the lair. And now he's going to be hitting a 2-base timing versus Solar. I mean, that's really all it can be at this point. So he will have the slightly quicker +1. He's going to be churning out roaches a little bit sooner, but Solar has the third base. He's got the slightly better economy, and with the defender's advantage, I get the feeling that he's going to be fine. And look at this, Solar picking off a creep tumor here and there. We'll lose an Overlord, or maybe not. Is it going to get away? Oh, it does get away. Yeah, look at that. Very, very, very well done, Overlord. Now, is SortOf going to go for the attack, or is he just going to macro up back at home? I mean, he's behind on the economy, but he's not really ahead enough in the army to make anything happen. And look at this. Solar just got lings into the main base of SortOf. We'll see if he's able to get a drone with these two. That poor unlucky drone is the one that gets chosen to be right-clicked on. And now, looks like SortOf did poke a little bit, but he got forced completely back. And now he's just going to have to macro from behind, so it's going to be a little rough for our Swedish Zerg. Alright, so what do we have here? SortOf will have an upgrade advantage. He's behind on the economy by a great deal, though. I mean, he's down a good number of workers. I imagine Solar will eventually try and get a 4th base, be the first player to do that. He's getting an extra Evo as well, so he will be catching up on the upgrades from the looks of things. And with that, it looks like that Solar's in a pretty good spot. Now, with the way ZVZ works, if SortOf does just macro up and stay back, eventually it'll be in a situation in which they're both maxed out. Solar will have a bank, but SortOf won't. Or if SortOf has that opportunity. So it's possible that you can sort of just ride out until it's not as big of a factor, your deficit. Solar kind of paranoid about what's going on, wants to make sure there's nothing, no spire or anything like that. Sees there's no hive. Now the players are relatively equal on supply here. They're actually dead equal on army supply for now. And SortOf's going to be going for it. It's possible that he takes a good fight here, but Solar does have the defender's advantage. And we've seen SortOf overcommit once or twice, but for now he's got a good angle here. Corrosive Bow's going down. Solar actually eating a fair few of them right now. Now, looks like Solar has managed to fight back, reclaim his sort of defender's angle, I guess. And now SortOf, though, is going to collapse on top of him. And keep in mind, SortOf has had the upgrade advantage and still does in this fight. So if there's a time to take this fight now, it is now for SortOf. He eats a nasty Corrosive Bow or two there. Solar does have the defender's advantage, so we're going to see who's going to win out. Supplies, though, are still very close, but the defender's advantage for Solar is going to be enough, so SortOf basically just traded there. And now Solar, with his better economy, is going to be able to remax faster. Players are quite close on upgrades, but Solar, that was his 4th base he was defending. SortOf does not have a 4th base. SortOf's going to be going for a counterattack, which is always a good option. You got to do something when you're behind. And now, if SortOf can reach max out, he can always take a good fight once again. Sort of find his way back. However, now Solar's coming on in. He wants to find something. SortOf has not made a 3rd base yet either. His roaches are coming in for a counterattack at the 3rd base, so this could be very nice for SortOf as long as he holds on. Gonna pick off that queen. But reinforcements for Solar are coming in and are gonna help clean this up. SortOf may just want to focus some drones, but no, this will be dealt with. These roaches are forced back. And now looking at this is what I was talking about. Both these guys are close to max out, so it really can go either way, but depending on how a fight goes. But Solar does have that bang. He does have that extra base, and now he's going into tunneling claws. Prosobal's raining down once more, that constant battle of zoning. The main base being attacked. Solar managing to get a run by Queen's going to go down, getting a lot more damage than SortOf did with his counterattack. Solar trying to push in. He can always overextend here, but SortOf doesn't have much to deal with this, and now his weaker economy is becoming even at more of a deficit now. Solar is really trying to push in, but he may just have too much of an advantage, regardless if he takes a slightly less efficient fight, that he'll be able to win out eventually. His counterattack is even still cleaning up what SortOf sent to deal with it. SortOf got his own counterattack. He's trying to focus down the space, but I don't think he's going to be able to get it. It's going to be close. Ah, it's going to be so close. He is going to get the base. But now Solar is pushing in once again, and SortOf is half the army supply of his opponent. He's half the workers. He's just half everything. And looking at this, it looks like that our Swedish Zerg is going to be in a lot of trouble once the reinforcements for Solar start spilling forward. Look at this. This massive line of roaches is going to come. And then with that, I think SortOf is going to tap out. Burrowed roaches too. GG. Solar going up 1-0. He's looking good. He's on the warpath. He wants to keep winning these tournaments. Who are we gonna throw players out? And we're gonna try and get them to send it Solar. But thanks to everyone for tuning into this tournament. Next map, gonna be Lost and Found. Thanks to everyone for tuning into this tournament, though. It's always great to have so many of you guys watching. Alrighty, both these guys are ready. We are loading on in. Alrighty, here we are. Thanks to everyone for watching once again. Keep in mind, there'll be another Afreeca World, so why not follow me on Twitter, right? Alrighty, we're loading into the next game. This is where, this guy spawning down in the bottom left-hand side of the map, this is really where he needs to bring it back. This is where things can get out of hand, or whether he can re-grasp control. It is SortOf, the Swedish Zerg, the foreigner, and now this monster who just keeps winning these tournaments and no one can stop him. It is Infinity Gaming Solar representing his new team well once again. Spawning pool on the way for Solar, so he's going to be going for that early aggression, SortOf going for the hatchery first, so we'll just have to wait and see what Solar's going to get done with this. It's always impossible to call a ZVZ until you actually see how the engagement is going down. No gas with this attack for Solar. So we won't be committing more to this. Gonna be following it up with a hatchery. Well, with a queen and then a hatchery, I imagine. Or no, he's actually pulling the drones. Never mind. What a fool I was. I was wondering, I was like, shouldn't you be spending your money, Solar? No, because he's going completely all in. The trains are coming. Solar says, this is a best of 7 ZVZ. Ain't nobody got time for that. And I mean, remember, if you guys watched the past Afreeca Worlds, Scarlet did this to Solar in the finals. And Solar ended up holding it, so we're going to see how our Swedish Zerg is going to manage this. He is now aware of what's coming his way. The drones and all. SortOf preemptively pulling his drones here. He's got a good chunk of resources. He's going to try and hold the top of his ramp. Solar can mineral walk through this, though. Now it looks like that sort of not taking the best fight there with his drones. It's always tough to call. He's hold positioning, which is an interesting micro trick. Lings of his own are on the way. Spines are now starting up. It's all going to come down to how well these Lings are going to help sort of out. He's got a few units out. Needs to micro these Lings well. Lings and drones going at it. This is all in for Solar. He's sort of having more Lings pop out. Few reinforcements coming in for Solar, though. It's going to be close, but it looks like that Solar may just have too much. I'm not sure sort of has an answer to this. There's just too many Lings. GG gets called. Solar, 2-0 lead. And it works. Players have only done that on Lost and Found that I've seen. But that was a quick one. So we will get into the next map, which is going to be Acid Plant. So suddenly Solar's up 2-0 and sort of's going to have a tough hill to climb in order to come back. That was just so quick. I mean, sort of's hold position micro was interesting. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. All right, we are loading on in now. Thanks to everyone for tuning into this Afreeca world. It's not over yet, though. We can't count out sort of. I mean, he brought a close series to Solar in the last one. Solar is such a monster, though. I mean, he's collected over $1,000, I think, in Afreeca Worlds if he wins this. Or he might just have collected that regardless at this point, whether he wins or not. Because he's earned a lot of money from these tournaments. Spawning up the top left-hand side of the map, it is Infinity Gaming Solar. And I mean, he kind of makes it look easy. And now this guy, spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map, was in for a bit of surprise that last game. It is sort of. I bet the most frustrating thing for players in ZVZ in a match like this is that because it's a different map, you can't do that strategy. Your drones just won't get there quick enough on Acid Plant. So you can't return to sender. Now both these guys showing a lot of respect for each other. Hatchery first. Pool on the way for each of these players. All right, so Overlord's crossing in the night. If I had a gripe with this map, it would be these water pipes. Look at them, they stop when we can't see them. Kinda they stop. It's early game ZVZ, guys. There's not too much to talk about. Yes, this is a tournament. How about I go ahead and link that bracket in chat for you guys? Third base on the way for Solar already. Sort of moving out with his feelings. Starting his own third base. So these guys respecting each other. Taking it down a notch from that past game. Ling's now hitting this base. 4 versus 2. Queen coming out though, so Solar will eventually force this back. Please update the Liquipedia now. Liquipedia eventually gets updated. Some very kind people go about and do that. Baneling nest on the way for each player. It's possible that they both just decide to pump out a lot of Lings and that we reach one of those crazy Ling Bane stages. I mean, personally, I love it. I've heard that some Zerg players do not like to play Mass Ling Bane. As it is pretty tough. Looks like one of SortOf's Banelings got detonated out there. Solar going for another one. Is he going to get it? No, not quite. Good control there to SortOf. Saving that one. Two hidden Banelings for SortOf. We'll see if he's able to get anything. I mean, Banelings aren't exactly quick, so it takes him a minute to get in there. SortOf now coming in, repays the favor, gets a Baneling in there, nicely done. Solar sees this, but he gets the Queen in the wall. Settles for a single drone for the 2 Banes. Roach Warren is on the way for Solar. So is Alaire, so SortOf's a little bit behind on that. I mean, SortOf, interestingly enough, getting the upgrade much quicker than his own Roach Warren, so it's just timing that out, interestingly enough. But both these guys, they're macroing up. SortOf needs to bring this one back. Roach is on the way for Solar. Maybe planning to be the aggressor this game, but eventually SortOf will be able to start his own, and that defender's advantage can be very good. If you're the guy who's squeezed out drones for just a second more or invested in other tech just a second later, it can make all the difference in ZVZ just because of the way the matchup swings. For example, SortOf now starting up a 4th base. We'll see if that defender's advantage is enough to put him to keep him safe in that regard. But as I say that, I realize Solar already had a 4th base that was sooner. Ling coming in. Is it going to get the Baneling? Yes, it does. Nicely done. SortOf now going to see these roaches. Going to want to get out of there with those Lings. Sees all those roaches. Baneling drop actually coming out of SortOf. I did not see that coming, but 9 drones going down. That's an interesting way to get some damage done. And now SortOf's going to have to react to this attack coming in from Solar, but he's put himself in a pretty good economic situation. Solar forced to spend on those drones, and SortOf is preparing back at home for this. We're seeing a bit of a 1-2 punch, though. This Roach hit squad's going to get a lot of damage done from the looks of it. 4 drones going down so far. And now we're seeing a big engagement. Crossobas need to go down on these roaches for SortOf. Crossobal going down, but it may have been a bit too late. I mean, Solar may just have pulled his opponent apart. We are actually seeing Solar retreat, though. A fight going on in the middle of the map. It looks like SortOf taking the worst end of the stick on both engagements. Dropper Lord coming out for Solar. He's going to return the favor. Looks like he's probably going to drop into the main base, if I had to guess. An Evo Chamber and a Hydralisk dead on the way for SortOf, so eventually going into Roach Hydra, possibly later on Roach Lurker. But Tunneling Claws on the way for Solar, upgrade-wise. Solar will be going for the advantage this game with getting 1-1. Now we're seeing this Overlord drop coming. Solar is now ahead on workers this game. And look at this fight. It's a little bit close for both these guys. Corrosive Bile's raining down on this. Solar trying to push up this ramp is a little bit ambitious, but this drop in the main base getting some damage done. Eventually, there'll also probably be a follow-up with Tunneling Claws and Burrow getting more harassment done. Corrosive Bile's going to pick off 2 Overlords, supply blocking SortOf, which is nicely done. No Hydras have been made by SortOf. Good dodge there, gets the Overseer of Solar, but Solar actually getting up this ramp, and SortOf is not in position. I think SortOf may just have lost this game, eating some nasty Corrosive Biles too. He's got reinforcements incoming, but that was such an opportune moment by Solar. I think he may just have broken SortOf with that quick move. He was not ready for that, and we're looking at Solar taking a 3-0 lead. GG gets called. We may be having Solar take another 4-0. And who did Solar took a 3-1 and then possibly a 4-0. I mean, we'll have to see a reverse all kill, but it's looking pretty rough for SortOf here. The next map is going to be Dreamcatcher. He's going to have to bring it back on this one. Solar with such a big win streak in this tournament, in the Afreeca World KR events. Solar saying, go, go, go. Go, go, go to another victory. Both these guys are ready. We're loading on in. Thanks to everyone for tuning on in to this Afreeca World. Alrighty, but we're loading on in. It could be the final match. This man spawning up in the top left-hand side of the mat. He cannot lose another match, or he is not gonna dethrone the current champ. And the current champ looking to make it 5 in a row. It is Infinity Gaming Solar. Who are we gonna find that's gonna beat this guy? Can someone tell me who's gonna beat Solar? SortOf may be able to, but it's gonna be a very tough hill. SortOf going for the expo, so is Solar. So no crazy rushes to end this yet. These guys gonna try and play it out. So both these guys, mirror builds coming out. We'll just have to see. I mean, so far it looks like SortOf's just been getting outplayed a little bit by Solar. He's just a little bit more precise. He's just a little bit more greedy. Okay. Mirror builds coming out. We'll have to see. How's it going to diversify? 2 queens on the way out for each player. I imagine we'll see a third base coming out for each of them pretty soon. Both these guys just squeezing out drones for now. But yeah, I imagine we'll see a third base pretty soon. As I mean, interestingly enough, neither of these guys are going for speed. They're both going for a lair first. An Evo on the way. An Evo on the way. Look at this. These guys are doing identical builds here. Queen's working away on this Zergling. Solar does get in, scouts that Evo chamber. Like, I assume he knows that it's going to be the lair. Because it's going to be that +1 Roach speed build. So these guys are going to be clashing heads. Look at this. Their builds are so similar. I was talking about how they'll be throwing up a third base soon. Neither of them are throwing up a third base. Roach Warren on the way for SortOf already. Solar squeezing out a few more drones, though. I guess he's the one with the information where SortOf does not. Oh, okay, look at this. It's going to be a Roach Warren Nidus out of SortOf versus a Spire for Solar. So it's possible that SortOf's going to be able to take a quick map. I mean, Spire's not that good versus a Nidus. These mutas won't be out in time for this all-in, I don't believe. It's always a tough call, particularly when the queens are coming in. Solar is not aware of this. I think he's probably thinking that it's going to be like a +1 speed attack, but it is indeed going to be a Nidus. 7 roaches are on the way now. Queen's forcing away this one Overlord, so this one's going to have to be the hero here. And the Nidus is burrowed. Solar does not see this. He's coming in just now. He's seeing this. He sees the Nidus now. He's getting on top of it, but I don't think he's going to have the DPS. This Nidus is going to be popping in just a second, and out come the queens. Out come roaches are going to be able to pop out now, and I think Solar's going to be in trouble. GG. SortOf's not going down without a fight. That's one way to try and bring it back. And I mean, look at this. Suddenly, that's 1 out of 4. SortOf, well done. Nice decisive build there. And now, so that was Dreamcatcher. The next map's going to be Fracture, game number 5. This will not be a 4-0. Solar is not having a flawless finals. And I mean, if SortOf goes for another decisive build like that and he wins, it's all right. I'm only down one game. Then all right, I tied it up. And the next thing you know, it's an ace match. But we'll get these guys into this lobby. So Solar GGing very quickly. I mean, there's not much of an answer for that. Go, Solar says in chat. Just making sure both these guys are ready. I appreciate everyone tuning in to Afreeca World. Alrighty, here we are. We're loading on in. Thanks to everyone for tuning on into this Afreeca World. I appreciate it. And there will be another Afreeca World. I can pretty confidently say there'll be another Afreeca World coming down the line at some point. Alrighty, here we are. It's a best of 7. Not gonna get the 4-0. Infinity Gaming Solar. He's gonna have to fight for at least one more. And his opponent spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map. The Swede. He's been in the past 3 Afreeca Worlds, but he hasn't managed to win one. He's in the finals, though. And that's the first step to winning one. It is SortOf. So we'll see the build. I mean, it started with what was looking like mirror builds, except Solar went Spire, SortOf went Nidus. In this game, it looks like it's going to be starting off mirrored once again. No early pools. Pool on the way, gas on the way for each player. Now, they didn't start speed. We'll see if one of them does this game. Now, if Solar got away with that two-base Spire, it could have been a completely different game. Overlords crossing each other once again. Similar builds, no speed started yet. Solar not going for a speed. Or not going for a speed, not going for speed. And neither is SortOf. If we take a look at these pools, no speed. And yet they're both banking gas. Look at this. They're both banking a ton of gas, so it's going to be layers again, I think, out of these guys. Probably a layer in the main for each of them, if I had to guess. What are these guys doing with all this gas? Ling's coming on in. Maybe able to block it. Sort of, not quite. So this will get scouted. Speed started. Possibly to be a fake. Possibly just a... I think that was a very late fake if that was SortOf's plan. As Solar's going to be aware of this. A layer and an Evo on the way for each player. So it could be that Nidus play. Evo could just be for part of the wall. So that layer on the way, we're seeing a similar build. +1 started for Solar. Roach Warren started for SortOf. This makes me think it could be a Nidus for SortOf once again. Or there's the +1. Okay. What if they both go for Niduses, guys? Has there ever been a ZVZ like that? Have we ever had a ZVZ in which both players went for a Nidus? Can someone tell me? I personally can't recall one that I've seen. It's StarCraft 2, a lot of games get played, so it must have at some point. That must just be ridiculous. Like, what do you do? Just roaches popping in and out. So, roaches on the way for both these guys. The question is, who will be the aggressor now? It's a small thing, but Solar is up 2 drones in this situation. SortOf. He's down 2 drones. That's all there really is to say. And I mean, it's always those little things that seem to get Solar ahead, just squeezing out an extra drone or 2, something like that. Overseer getting shot at. Looks like it will get away. Third base on the way for Solar, and his base is a little bit quicker, so he's just doing things just a little bit faster, maybe just a little bit more greedy, but not to a significant degree in these games. SortOf's really banking up on the roaches, but so is Solar. I mean, the supply difference is nothing. And we see no third base coming out of SortOf just yet. That third base for Solar, I think he's going to get away with it, as breaking the defender's advantage isn't really an option, I don't think, for SortOf, but SortOf's powering up on 2 bases. Similar to that second game, I think. But, I mean, he lost that second game. Queens are coming with this. So that's really going to be a tell to Solar what's going on in this game. SortOf's coming on up. He's going to want to hit this third base. Solar's moving out. He's going to actually catch these queens, but that's going to be SortOf's cue to go in. These queens getting caught is a massive deal right now. SortOf coming on in. We'll see if he's able to take a positive fight. Yeah, Solar has to push up into his own ramp, but he's got so much more over on this side of the map. Reinforcements are coming in, but look at this. SortOf is not rallied correctly. He may be able to take a good fight. He kind of has a concave here. He's got to pull back on one front, though. And I don't know if SortOf has enough, and he's down a base, so he needs to win the game right now. He is taking a good angle right now, it looks like. Trying to push on up, but he's forced to retreat at the north once again. He cannot push through at the bottom. He's forced to retreat as those roaches are very in the red, and now he's down on supply. And it looks like Solar is going to chase him all the way home. And this is not looking too good for our Swedish Sork. He managed to take that pass game, but recovery's looking pretty far away in this series. Roach is going all sorts of directions. Some of them, I guess these three can counterattack. I don't know. But the fact that SortOf just decided to go all in versus a mirror build, it's kind of questionable. Roach has come on in, but GG gets called. SortOf knows he was behind, and Solar's going to take the 4-1. Another dominant victory. I mean, dropping a map in each series is nothing to shame when you're playing against guys that good, but that's going to be it. GG gets called. Solar is our champion, once again. So make sure to follow me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, everything like that. I mean, all the results are on Wikipedia, so there's a lot of places you can find info on Afreeca World. But I will be linking all of those.